This is an explanation of the source code of XML Log Toolkit and how to compile it. XML Log Toolkit is a suite of currently 3 programs, those being Log Tailor, Log Viewer, NetLogo Starter. Log Viewer is itself made of has several plugins, and those plugins are all individual programs. So as you can see, there's a lot of programs and the compilation process gets kind of hairy. But here's how to do it. I've downloaded all the source into a source folder. I use NetBeans to edit the projects. The projects are already configured to work with NetBeans. If you use another IDE, I don't know how to set it up. Also, NetBeans has a GUI builder. The GUI builder is very convenient for making all these projects. To open all the projects at once, you click New Group, Folder of Projects, and tell it where the source folder is. There it is. Open, create group. Right now all the projects are complaining that they have missing libraries. This is a necessary step. Tools, variables, and you add a variable. The variable must be called logviewer_lib, and the location of it is that same source folder, but it's a file inside the source folder, or it's a folder inside the source folder called lib. So you need to specify the lib folder as a variable called logviewer_lib. Once you do this, all the complaints go away. This is because, let me show you an example. All the libraries are specified relative to that lib folder. All the projects use external libraries, and they're all located in the folder specified by logviewer_lib. I can show you that folder actually. To see all these jar files, you need to tell it where that folder is, and that's what setting up the variable does. Okay, explanation of the projects. This is the Log Tailor project, the Log Viewer project, NetLogo Starter. Those are 3 main programs. The Log Viewer itself has several plugins, those being code, image, JavaScript interpreter, and 2 samples. The last project that's not a plugin for Log Viewer and not one of the 3 main programs is General. It contains a lot of utilities that all the projects that are convenient to use in all the projects. Okay, and now to compile. General, because it's used in all the projects, needs to be compiled first. Always use clean and build when compiling so that you get the jar file to be created. Okay, we've compiled the general file. Now we have to put the general jar file into the lib folder so that everyone can access it. The general project is located inside lib. Go to the dist folder, you copy general.jar, you paste it. There's an existing one already, just replace it with the newer version in lib. Every time you make a change to a project, you have to compile it and put it in the correct place. There is no automatic build system because it's across several projects. So you change a project, you have to compile it as a jar and then paste it in the correct place. Once general is pasted in the correct place, the next one you have to build is Log Viewer, because all the plugins and Log Tailor all depend on Log Viewer because it has an API. NetLogo Starter can be compiled on its own after you compile general. Okay, we got the Log Viewer to move its jar to the lib folder because all the other projects use it. So log viewer folder under source, log viewer, dist, copy logviewer.jar. Paste it in the lib folder. Once you do that, all the other projects are now compilable and will be using the most current library. Okay, so now everything is compiled and up to date. The Log Tailor program is in the dist folder of the logtailor program, of the logtailor folder. You can just copy this somewhere and use that to distribute your program. Same with NetLogo Starter, go to its folder. This is the complete program contained in itself. With NetLogo Starter, it relies on 3 files, so make sure you distribute these files somewhere along with it. LogViewer program is a little more complex. Again, it has a dist folder, and this is the folder you copy around. But normally, LogViewer comes with several plugins. For example, this is a downloaded distribution. If I start LogViewer, it has 2 plugins in this case and some interpreters. And those normally are in here and in here. So there's interpreters folder and tabs folder. That means if you want to distribute LogViewer with all the plugins installed, you have to copy the dist folder wherever you want, and then inside it you have to create an interpreters folder and tabs folder. They have to be called this. And then to install the actual plugins, you go to the plugins folder under LogViewer folder under source. All the interpreters are located, all the projects for the interpreters are located in the interpreters folder. You need to copy the jar file, and you need to name the folder as specified. It could be whatever name the developer chooses, but in this case the developer chose to call it JavaScript. Every time you copy this, you can remove LogViewer, JSPF, and General, because those are already included in LogViewer and you don't need to include them. That cuts down on size. So make sure you copy the lib folder, because that includes any external libs that it may need that aren't located in the central lib folder. And then you want to do the same. Sample interpreter doesn't need any external libs because they're already included. Paste that there. Do the same with the tabs. Paste them in the tabs folder. Do any necessary renames. Get another plugin, dist. Rename the lib folder. Delete the unnecessary ones. General, JSPF LogViewer. This one doesn't have any libs I need. Just copy it there. Once you do that, this dist folder is ready for distribution. All the plugins and interpreters, everything's installed. If you click it to run it, you can see all the plugins are installed. Now, last thing I want to explain is how to run or how to install a plugin so that you can use it in your NetBeans project. In your NetBeans project, if you want to install any plugins for whatever LogViewer it's building at the moment, you need to copy the interpreters and tabs folder to the LogViewer project. So this is the LogViewer project. Don't put it in dist, but you put it here. If you put it here, you don't need to rebuild the jar each time of LogViewer in order to run the plugin. You just have to make sure NetBeans auto compiles, but it doesn't auto compile to a jar, it auto compiles to a bunch of class files. So every time it auto compiles and you use that version instead of using the jar file under dist, all these plugins will be available. So if I run LogViewer, the plugins are all installed. However, if I run log viewer from the dist folder, because there's nothing in the interpreters and tabs folder, there's no plugins. So you just have to make sure every time you compile a plugin, you install the plugin. If you don't like to do that, you can take advantage of the testing and debugging features for plugins and the plugins.ini file, so that you can just compile it once and then without any copying you can restart log viewer and it'll be available. Instructions for testing and developing plugins without constantly copying jar files for the plugins are available in the user and developer guide. And finally, let me just show you a really useful feature of NetBeans, that being the GUI editor. So if I open this JPanel based file, I can edit it using the GUI editor, and that's why I like NetBeans. Thank you.